right, here we go. Happy Monday. Good morning. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. My name is Travis Neville. I wrote this book. It's called The Jocelyn Method. And you know, I just put this on Facebook the other day. I had a friend ask me, "Hey man, how much money are you making on your podcast?" I'm like, "It's on YouTube, man. It's free. Like, I don't make any money on this." I don't know. Maybe everybody just assumed that there's like, I mean, I don't know. I guess with YouTube you can monetize your videos, and I know there are people who make their living on YouTube, but shit, I'm getting like, and I'm looking back here, I'm getting anywhere from 30 to 90 views per video. I think my highest one's 92. You know, I get about 40 or 50 views per video. That's not much. I don't think. I mean, certainly not enough to get paid. I mean, if YouTube sent me some money, I missed it. You know. So yeah, that's not why I do. That's not why I do this. I have a business, man, and that provides enough income for me. That's for sure. This is a hobby. You know, this is the thing I do to help people. I'm not trying to make money. I'm not, and I'm not like offended by that. I guess I just thought that was to be assumed. People who help people do it. You know, if you're making a lot of money on it, then it takes away, I think, a lot of the purity of it, right? I mean, I always thought that when I was a teacher. I'm like, man, if I made a ton of money as a teacher, it would take away a little bit of the nobility of it. You know, and no, I don't begrudge teachers what they make. I think you should all make 3 times what you do make. But, yeah, you're helping people all day long. I mean, and that's, you know, coaching football. I mean, these guys that are working, they're making... A lot of these guys are working for T-shirts, you know, and working with your kids every day, and helping them become better men, and, you know, wearing the colors of your town and representing you against the next town over. Yeah, helping people is not a thing you do to make money. I don't know. I kind of wanted to get that out there. That's not a thing that I'm really concerned with. If that comes, fine, but I probably end up putting it back into this somehow, like getting myself a better camera, or, you know, like that's probably what I would do. Anyway, today I want to talk about purpose. Okay, I'm reading this book right now. There's this guy. The book is called Do the Work, and it's the guy who wrote the book on Fuck Yourself, and I'm blanking on his name. I think I wrote it down here at some point. Anyway, the guy's talking about purpose, and he spends a lot of time talking about it. And his point is this, and it really hit hard with me, is that your purpose, you know, let me back up. That's why I opened up by talking about why I don't make any money, or talking about the fact that I don't make any money doing this. I've decided that this is my purpose right now. Okay? I don't have a family that I'm raising. I don't have a career that I'm trying to build. I'm not building a house right now. I don't have a big purpose outside of this. So I have chosen this as my purpose for right now. My purpose is to help people. I chose it. I decided that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't bestowed upon me by cosmic forces. All right, it wasn't assigned to me by the government. And yours fucking won't be either. All right? I was talking to this lady at the grocery store, actually. And we're shooting the bull. She had a very organized grocery list, and I happened to see it. I'm like, what app are you using there? So I got to chatting with this lady. And she started showing me what she was doing. And first of all, I was struck by the fact that she had a lot of things to do during the day. A lot of things to do during the day. Turns out she's a single mom. She's raising this young boy. And we got to talking about purpose because it was on my mind. And she said, "Look in there, you'll see." So I'm looking at her phone, and it's like, you know, soccer practice. It's all these different things that are for her son. And at the bottom of each of them, in capital letters, it says, building a man. That's her purpose in life right now, to build a man. And so that's what everything in her life, for the most part, is geared towards that. Even the things that aren't geared towards that are her recovering and, getting some sharpening her own saw and maybe spending a little time with friends so that when she comes back, she's even better at building a man. Fucking awesome shit right there. That was really powerful for me. She chose that to be her purpose. Now, unfortunately, there's tons of people out there who are raising kids, and they don't take it that seriously. They don't take it certainly as seriously as this lady did. Really impressive stuff. This purpose thing, though, that's the biggest point I want to make, and I'm going to give you a bunch of different things that are going to kind of get you there. But the thing that you need to know is you get to pick it. For the most part, your purpose is going to be a thing that you put in your life. You choose to put it there, right? Let's look at my situation. Like I told you, don't have a family. I always thought that at this point in my life, that's what I would be doing. I didn't have any doubts about that. Made some mistakes, ended up where I am now. It is what it is. So I've chosen to make my life the best I can make it. I've chosen to take the things that are in front of me and treat them as if I put them there, even if I didn't. Even though I would rather be raising a family right now. Or at least I think I would. I've never done that before, so it might suck, But what's in front of me right now are things that I have consciously put there because I thought them through and I decided this is what I want to do. Now, I had this compliment given to me recently as well, that I am more my own man than most people. And I think that has to do with the fact that I don't have other people making demands on my time. I don't have a boss. I don't have a partner. My life is 100% for me. My creation, I do it as I will. And I've chosen these things. I've chosen to coach football. That takes a lot of time, specifically in the fall, because I want that to be my purpose. I want to help kids become men. And I talk about that like crazy. That's part of my purpose. Now, when that's not going, it always works this way. When the season ends, I've still got a lot of internal motivation. I've still got a lot of inspiration, and I need to get that into something. And so I wrote the book like after one of the football seasons. As soon as the football season ended, I immediately filled that space with writing that book. And then the season after that, I got into doing this podcast and building towards it anyway. So I've chosen these things to go into my life. You have to look at your life and figure out what those things are. What are the things what's your purpose? And I know that sometimes is going to shift. Like maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe your kids are all out of the house now. And they have been your purpose for fucking 20 years or 25 years or whatever the span of time from the birth of your first one to the departure of your last one. That's a big ass transition. But you know what? It's just like in the book, I talk about in the book, you get to fill that space now with something awesome. You have an opportunity. You have a void. And you're going to decide what you fill it with. Completely up to you. And maybe with your partner, you guys talk about that. But that's what you're going to do. Now, as you go down that path, I caught this phrase the other day, and man, it's some good shit. It's easier to bleed than it is to sweat. Let's think that through. It's easier to bleed than it is to sweat. So it's easier to sit there wounded and suffer. That's easy to do. But sweating, working hard to make your situation better, that's hard. But, you can guess which one's going to behoove you more completely, right? Get out there and do the work. We talk about that all the time. Excuse me. Are you willing to do the work? And it's just, it isn't making money's part of it, building your career, but the relationships in your life, they're exactly the same. It's the same kind of recipe. You have to put the work in. You got to decide you're going to put the time in, put the work in, because that relationship you've decided is important to you. Everything's a trade-off, okay? You can decide if you're going to have this peripheral relationship that it's not as good as it used to be, or maybe as good as you want it to be. But that feeling of discomfort with it is clearly not as negative as the work you'd have to put in to do it. So there's your trade-off. I would rather sit here and bleed and be uncomfortable than put the work in to make this relationship good so it's not hanging over my head. Now, I've talked about my dad 100 times, and everybody's got familial relationships that they've got to put some effort into. Going through college, and we had a really rocky relationship, my dad and I did. And I'm sure I was just as guilty as he was. We don't need to get into it, but my point is this. When I got married and started a life for myself and felt comfortable, and I had done it myself, I didn't need his help, I made it there on my own, I decided that having my dad in my life was important. So what I did to make that happen was I started calling him once a week. I'd call him on Monday on my way home from work. Every Monday for a whole school year. This is when I was teaching. Every Monday, the whole ride home, I talked to my dad. And holy shit, that's all I had to do. And by the time springtime came around, he came and visited. We were spending more time together. That's all I had to do. But I had to do it consistently. You want to have good relationships. Most of the time, big sweeping gestures aren't enough. If you want to have a good relationship, you've got to put a little in every day. Boom, boom, boom. Help, 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 help. And you got to do it with a short memory. You can't be a month into it. If I'd have gone and made it to like October, November, I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. I'm calling every day. Nothing's happening. I wasn't doing it for the outcome. I was doing it so that I felt good about the fact that I was doing something to make this relationship good. And what it did is it deleted that nagging feeling like I'm not comfortable with the fact that this relationship isn't going the way I want it to. Once I started calling him once a week, I felt so much better about it. Regardless of the outcome at that point, it was just, I knew I was doing everything I could. And let me tell you, that's a fucking stress reliever. Okay? So that's a way to fix a relationship. Sometimes you run into relationships that are just bad, just by nature. And you have to be honest with yourself that no amount of work that you're going to put in is going to make them be good for you. And I can think of a couple that have, that have been in my life recently. I had this client, and I got to know, what, I'd love to tell you I got to know him, but I really don't know that much about him. I just know surface shit. I know I talk to him on the phone a lot. That's it. I spent time with him a couple of times in person over 3-4 years that I've been doing business with this guy. But what I figured out is that no matter what, he is endlessly self-centered. Money is the most important thing to him at all times, and he'll leverage what he'll call our friendship in order to make more money. So it's become very clear to me that that's what's important to him. He's a businessman, and hey, that's fine. I'm not judging the guy. I'm just letting you know that if you're going to call yourself my friend, I have a lot higher expectations of your behavior than anytime things get rocky, you peel away and try to take money from me. That's just, I know that's how that guy is. I think that's how most successful business people are. They value the dollar over the relationships. And that's probably why my business isn't huge and super successful. I just like the relationships more than the money. I can't help it. I just do. So there are probably lots of situations where I could make more money and I don't. Anyway, that's a guy I've got to cut out of my life. Every time he owes me money, he tries to get out of it. He tries to pay less. In his culture, that's completely normal. But to me, that's offensive. It hurts my feelings. Every time I do business with this guy, it hurts my sense of friendship for him. The feelings that I have. And I realize I get hurt every single time. So what I've chosen to do is on this one, he hasn't paid me in like 3 months. So I hired got my lawyer going on it. She's going to go get that money from him, and that'll be that. The guy's just a source of pain for me, so fuck him. It's been like that with women I've dated too. The most recent girl that I dated, she just was real self-centered. She was, I don't know how she got that way, but it's not my problem. Wasn't going to give anything, ever. She'd smile right in your face and tell you no, hey, you want to come hang out? Nope. Hey, you want to do this? Nope. But when she'd call me and get upset if I didn't go there and help her change out her light fixtures, So that's self-centeredness. I don't need you in my life. You continue to make bad decisions. That's a person that needs to get out of your life. So, you got to make those decisions. Like I said, with my dad, it's my dad. I mean, of course I'm going to fix everything I can in that relationship, and we have a good relationship. You guys know that. But these other two, they're just sources of more negative than positive. I'm not going to get much out of it. I just know it's not going to work. So you separate them, you move on. You got to have a short memory on that too. 3 and out. You know what I'm saying? Now, another thing that this guy in the book I'm reading right now, which is called Do the Work. I should tell you the damn author. He talks about that every relationship in your life is modeled after something from your past, from your original, like, the guy's name's Gary John Bishop. He wrote Unfuck Yourself as well, which I haven't read yet, but he said that all the relationships in your life are modeled after the ones that are from your core when you were a kid, basically. Every relationship you have is like the one you had with your mom or with your dad or with one of your siblings or an aunt and uncle or a coach, or they all come back to that. And yeah, that to me, that's kind of been a rule of thumb. If a person in my life is, you know, if they're starting to make me feel the way I felt with my dad before I fixed everything, then I know it's a bad relationship. I gotta, that's probably gotta go. Yeah, but if I feel about this person, and this is, I'm always trying to find somebody who is like my mom, because she's just the nicest lady in the world. But I don't know if that can be duplicated. You probably, if you're lucky, have one sibling or one parent that, pure positive relationship, but you're never gonna get that duplicated. Anyway, going back to the purpose thing. Like I told you, I've chosen this to be my purpose. I've decided that, hey, I want to help people. That's it. I mean, that's what these podcasts are about. I'm trying to get you to feel better about your life, feel better about yourself, give you things to think about, little bits and pieces to act on, little things that might make your life just a little bit better. The book itself, I think, is more a thing that you want to get into if you're going through something very difficult. I'm hoping that these podcasts are just weekly reminders of, hey, here's some good shit that will help you. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's why I called it the Travis Neville podcast instead of the Jocelyn Method podcast, because it allows me a little bit more lateral movement. I got some leeway. I don't have to just stick to the book. I can get outside of that. And I do so much research on other things anyway. A lot of times I'm just sharing with you cool shit that I read in books, or that I heard on podcasts or whatever. I'm boiling it down and giving it to you so that you can enjoy it. Yeah, that's that. So let's see. I talked about things being trade-offs, right? So you decide, when you look at a relationship, you go, all right, what's less work for me? Is it the discomfort of this relationship? Or is it the work that I know I'm going to have to put in to make this relationship good or get out of it? I think too many times that's what keeps people in bad situations. I was talking to my buddy the other day. He's been in a bad relationship for 6 kids. Sorry, dude. That's a choice you continue to make. But the choice that he's making is this. He would rather be in, I wrote this down, discomfort. He'd rather be in a reasonably comfortable compromise. He's a little uncomfortable, but he knows that to get out of that relationship, it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. You got to deal with finances and lawyers and finding a place to live and moving and talking to your kids, and there's a lot when you get divorced. There's a lot. Now, it's up to you to decide that. Are you willing to kind of plug your nose, eat the vegetables, and get through that hard part to get to the better part? Or aren't you? Are you just being comfortable how you are? And it's comfortable in that you have a routine and you've been there a long time and you know what you're doing. I mean, that's up to you. I mean, my supposition is that if you want to find a purpose, a real purpose, I mean, unless you've decided it's raising your kids, and then fuck everything else. That's what you got to do. But you've got to, I don't know if you can find a purpose for yourself when you're unhappy. Now, you can always choose to make yourself happy. I mean, that's the move. But, here's the thing. Like I said, it's not going to just come to you one day. All right? Instead of looking forward on that, look back. Look back over the last 30 years of your life or 50 years of your life or however many you got in. How many times did some cosmic thing that just come out of nowhere and change your life completely? Now, I can fucking count on one hand. Less than that, I can count on one finger the amount of times that my whole life changed and it came out of nowhere. That happened to me one time. So I'm telling you, it's going to be pretty rare. And even then, I was open to it. So that's why that worked. But most of the time, you build it. Anything you're going to have in your life, you got to go out there and build it. And that's sort of the bad news. But the good news is you decide what it is. You can decide what that purpose is going to be. I mean, you can admire Gandhi and Mother Teresa and all this shit, but they weren't born to do what they did, what they're doing. You take away all of their responsibility and accountability if you do that. They chose to do what they're doing. No big group came to them and said, listen, we need this person who can be our front person, and you're going to be famous, and we're going to have you doing these things, and you're going to stand for all this stuff, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to be you, okay? You're going to be the one. That, I'm telling you, that's in the movies. Those people decided that's what their purpose was going to be, and they went and they did it. And that's it. And that's all there is to it. It's not, like I said, this big exciting thing. They just made the decision, they went and did it. Yeah, I look around my life, 100% created by me. The things that are bad, I did them. I'm still got a few symptoms from the damn coronavirus. And like I told you, I got that because I went 5 days in a row of drinking just a little too much. Weakened my immune system, let it in the door. I suffered as a result. I got sick. That's on me, not on anybody else. I made the decisions. I somehow got around it. I think I probably was exposed to it 100 times, but I was keeping myself healthy, so I was able to ward it off. And at that point, I was not. It hit me when I was weak, and I put myself there in that position. All the positives, though, they're there because I've chosen them. I drive a nice car because I work hard and I take care of my things. I have my own house. You know what I mean? Purpose is not this crazy cosmic shit. I'm going to go back to that comment that I made earlier, that it's easier to bleed than it is to sweat. And that's the guy in the bad relationship deciding if he's going to leave you sitting back, bleeding, feeling sorry for himself, at least on some level. And you probably have lots of other things in your life that are going okay, but you're not wanting to do the work to either A, make your relationship better, or B, come on, Hank, or B, decide to do what you got to do to get out. You know what I mean? Both of those are going to be sweat, and you got to choose. You got to choose to do that. I think this is a Sun Tzu quote. He says, "If you sweat more in peace, you'll bleed less in war." That's very similar to what I'm talking about, and it also, I think, goes right back to our buddy Jordan Peterson. Prepare your boat. The flood's coming. The more work you do in peacetime, you know what I mean, the easier it's going to be when things are hard. And you can define that as you will. You can define that as yourself emotionally. You can define that as your life financially. The more you save when you have money coming in, the easier it's going to be when you don't. Like this last year, I didn't make a whole shit ton of money because our governor shut down fucking construction and everybody's sitting at home collecting free money, so I can't place as many people. But you know what? I had a bunch of money in the bank. I stay the hell out of debt. Like, I do things so that I can live on very little if I have to. And, man, I'm pleased with that. Like, it turned out pretty good. It wasn't, I made it through very comfortably. And now things are starting to go again, so that's nice. And I chose to get out into other states and all that, and that helps as well. So there it is. Sweat more in peace than you bleed less at war. Yeah, that's the key there. So your purpose. I mean, that's the key here. Okay. What do you want it to be? What would you? Can you sit down right now and have a clear cut? I mean, hopefully most of you who are listening to this saying, "Oh fuck yeah, my purpose is X." I've known that since blah blah blah. A lot of times you put a thing in your life and you don't realize it's going to become your purpose, but it does. So there is, here's the thing my dad says. It's great shit. He says that too often in your life, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but we're all floating downstream, right? The river's taking you. Life, time, progress, it's moving you in a direction. And you can choose to put your head down and swim like a motherfucker downstream to get there faster. But you'll miss the scenery, and you'll miss the relaxation of floating in the river. There's a lot of symbolism here. I think there's a balance. I think sometimes you need to swim real hard downstream. I think sometimes you swim a little harder upstream to make your situation better. But yeah, he's right that a lot of it is just floating downstream. Now this is coming from a guy who's finally retired, so of course he's floating downstream. Dad, you made your life good, and you're doing what you want to do, presumably. You seem happy. And it's a good phrase. It's a good thing to have in your head that your purpose might be a thing that hasn't happened yet. Your purpose might be different things as your life moves on. I mean, like that woman that I met at the grocery store. She didn't, when that kid's 25, that's not going to be her purpose anymore. I mean, I hope not, because then she'll have, the kid's probably living in her basement, you know what I mean? That's not ideal. You haven't made a great person if that's the case. So that'll shift on you. Like I look back at, when I was in college, my purpose was to get through fucking college and make it so that I had a life for myself. I did all that myself. I paid for schooling and found ways to get food and places to live and worked real hard all summer. I worked during the year too. I did, studied and did all the things I needed to do. For 4 years, that was my purpose, is to get a degree. And then I would tell you for 10 years, my purpose was to be a teacher. That was my purpose. If you'd asked me, that's what I said. I'm here to help, kids become adults. And that's what I was doing. And I got away from that after I got out of teaching, and I did a few different things, and I was just trying to make money, and that was fine. Making money is great. I wouldn't call that a purpose. I mean, it's what you do with your money, not the fact that you have it, I suppose. Unless you need that because you're building a business or something, or I don't know. But now, like I said, I money's fine, and my purpose is to try to help people. I don't know. Maybe I'm not helping anybody. Maybe I'm just pissing people off. I know I definitely pissing people off. I'm still not getting any. People aren't really commenting. I would love to hear some comments, because it give me something to talk about or respond to, especially if they're negative comments. Hit and like, that's awesome. I appreciate it, but hit the thumbs down. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me why I'm an idiot. That's going to help me get better at my purpose. And at this point, I've decided that my purpose is to help people. That's what the book is for. That's what this podcast is for. Just trying to help you. Give me some guidance on how I can do that best. What do you want to hear me talk about? What do you want to hear me dig into? Is there a book you want me to check out? Is there, most of the books I read, people recommend to me. I had a coach, my buddy Tim, recommend this guy the other day. He asked me if I thought he was any good, so I started digging in. He's got a lot of stuff out there, so I'm going to read one of his books and see if he's any good. That helps me help you. Help me help you. Anyway, that's what I think about finding your purpose. It isn't finding your purpose. It isn't this thing that you dig through like you're Indiana Jones and you're go digging through the jungle looking for this golden thing. It's not that at all. It's so much more simple. You just decide what it's going to be. I want my purpose to be this. And then you start fucking doing it. You start doing the sweating. You start doing the work on whatever it is, You decide that you're going to be this, and then you fucking start doing it. That's it. And like I said, within your relationships, it's going to be the same as it is for any kind of career goal or anything else. Go in and work hard. Go in and work hard. Go in and work hard. Put the work in. You don't have to kill yourself, but be consistent. Do it every day that's appropriate. That'll get you to where you want to be, and you'll feel your purpose out of that. I look at, like I said, go back to that relationship with my dad. I wasn't trying. I mean, of course I wanted the relationship to go well, but it alleviated that feeling that I had this relationship that wasn't going well by doing the work. As soon as I started putting the work in, I felt so much better about it. Then it wasn't on my mind when I was laying in bed at night. So that's why you do it. It's no different than the shit in my book where I go and I score myself at the end of every day. Hey, here are the things I did to achieve these goals that I've set for myself. And I made progress today. And I moved forward today. That's all you can do. That's how you get your purpose, guys. It's just that simple. All right, Travis Neville Podcast. I'm Travis Neville, and I sincerely hope you get your shit together.